I have a video coming where I'm going to go through a few more bungees, but I've been getting a few requests about the Razer Bungee V2, so I thought a quick comparison with the old one that I was using, the Zowie Camade, would actually help. First things first, you want to make sure the cables actually fit. G403 is a huge cable. It doesn't actually fit in all of them like the Cougar bunker. And these days, I don't actually just push the cables in. I don't force them in because I feel like that's going to break the cables at some point. It's not a good idea. So the way I do it now is a slide technique. I hold the cable back here, so just at the back between my finger and thumb there, and then I just gently slide it through and eventually it should go in. There we go. So it's a pretty big cable, this one, but it still fits. So that alone should tell you that every other cable should be able to fit, and it's no problem there. Easy to take out, and I've got the G102 here as well because that's a really thin cable. So just because it fits a big cable doesn't mean it's going to keep the thinner cable in. But again, slide technique, goes in really easily. Does it hold it? Yes, it does. So no problem there. Same with the Camade, they're both really good heads. Now, as for these really soft flexible cables that we're getting these days on the MM710 and Model O-, you can do the same slide technique. In fact, that's why I even came up with this, because I couldn't actually just push them in. Again, just slide, should go in nice and easily. No problem there. For the Model O cable, it's not quite as good. In fact, it's pretty bad by comparison. I'll explain that in another video soon. So you can just really feel the wires in there and they easily break. If you had the right angle bend, you probably know about this already. But again, just gently slide, it should go in. There we go. No breaks, no issues, should be alright. Just quickly, I want to talk about how much slack you should have. A lot of people will say that, you want to have it so it's, tight. Let's get it like this. So the cable is actually raised and you don't want it dragging along the pad. The problem is that that's an anchor point. And as soon as you go over here, the bungee will go to there, sure, and that's why you have the spring, so it does reduce the amount of tension on there. However, at some stage, this is going to break. I think it's better to just have them more slack, just gently as usual. I don't mind the cable resting on the pad a bit. I don't think the bungee is meant to have the cable suspended. And especially with these cables, they're super soft and smooth. It shouldn't be an issue. So I would rather have that extra slack. So when I'm doing the huge flicks, I know the cable's not going to break. I mean, it's up to you how you want to use a bungee, but that's my tip on it. I've had the cable dragging a little bit for a long time now and doesn't seem to get in the way. These cables feel like they're almost wireless anyway, so really not an issue. So you might ask, then what's the point of having a bungee if you're going to have that much slack? And the answer is, if you don't actually have it tied down somewhere, the entire cable is going to move all the time. So if you just have a little bit of slack there, you can see I can go all the way to the sides of the pad, and that's when the bungee kicks in. And you notice nothing else is flicking around, it is just this part. And again, these cables almost feel wireless, so really not an issue. So why I prefer the Razer Bungee V2 over the Camade? Spring quality is the thing. Have a listen to that, you should be able to hear it. It's a good sound. This one, I mean, it's funny and fun to play with, like I did in the review. But if I had to choose between the two, definitely the deeper, nicer sound there. So the springs just seem like they're better quality. Now for weight, 220 grams for the V2, and the Zowie Camade, 243, slightly heavier. Weight, not a big issue, you just want enough so that it does hold the cable down and does hold it in place. It doesn't just fly all over the desk. However, you need a balance. So if you have a, say, Cougar bunker where it's actually stuck down on the desk, then as soon as you get to, hang on, let me show you this. So let's say that you reach the end of your slack and you keep on trying to move because you're in the heat of the moment, you do this massive flick. You got to hit this 180 shot for whatever reason. And if your bungee is stuck down, what's going to break? It's not the bungee, it's going to be the cable. So you want a mouse bungee that's heavy but not too heavy, so when you do reach that limit, the bungee is going to move with it. It's kind of a safety precaution. So trying to protect the cables, and that's why I don't like using the Cougar bunker, because it is just stuck down. And I think if you do a massive flick, you're going to break that cable. So it's better to have these ones that will move with your cable if they absolutely have to, rather than just staying put where they are and then not giving it all. So the weights on these, both very good. As you can see from the back, they're both very similar in design. You run the cable through these points to keep it there better, just better management. And yeah, I just prefer the design overall. I don't really like having the red and different colors on the bungees. I do prefer all black. In my opinion, the RGB lights should actually define your setup. Ignore the mouse pad. This is just something I'm testing. It's from Extrify if you want to check it out. But otherwise, I'll have a black pad or a gray pad because I want my setup to look really cool and with the lights. So I can theme it for videos and just my mood on the day, who knows. But I definitely prefer the all black look, and I think this one's... people are sleeping on this one so far. It's a lot better than people might realize. It's got a better head. Oh, and that's another thing, by the way. A few people have reported that it comes off a fair bit, which could be a feature because, hey, it's not going to destroy the cable. At least that comes off first. But at the same time, it is kind of annoying as well. And yeah, we'll see how the new version of this handles in a video soon. But for now, my pick is the Razer Bungee V2. Also, the Razer one has an entire rubber base like that. This one just got rubber feet. Both are good, they're fine. It just helps them stop sliding around a little bit. But otherwise, they're basically the same in that regard too. Anyway, both are still good choices. I just prefer the color scheme on this one. I think the quality is better. So Razer have really stepped up their game in that regard. So yeah, worth checking out. By the way, this is not a sponsored video. Both of these were sent out for review and test purposes, so thank you to Razer and thank you to Zowie. That's it for now. Use your links in the description if you want to help support what I do. And as always, subscribe, like and share this video, and I'll catch you in the next.